Okay, you used to be me. You've done all this before. What happens next? I don't remember. How could you forget this? Hey, it's not my fault. You obviously weren't paying enough attention. Reverse the polarity.
How dare you steal my line, you ham-fisted bum vendors?
Oh no. Well, look who it is. Mr. Grumpy.
You're either not pleased to see me or looking for a fight.
Or both.
Doctor, who are you talking to?
Myself.
Dad always said he couldn't handle more than 3 at one time. I struggle with 1.
Would you fellows like a jelly baby?
Rancid sugar. You know you ought to change my diet.
Don't you mean your diet? Our diet.
We should all eat celery. It's much healthier.
I always preferred beans on toast. So sick of Rose's chips.
Leather. His coat is evil.
Says the man who couldn't actually use his TARDIS. Boo-hoo! I'm stuck on Earth and I can't leave with only Brigadier to keep you company.
Hey, leave my father out of this.
You really are a fucking... Ah, here we are. What? Jamie? Zoe? This is why I should never lend my recorder to people who can't play music. They go to the concert without me.
Maybe because they know you have no taste in music.
How dare you talk to me like that?
I'll talk to you however I fucking want to. My rice pudding has better music taste than you.
This is getting out of hand. I'm looking for the doctors.
Well, you've certainly come to the right place.
I told you I would come back, and today I have come back.
Oh dear, it's the old coot again.
I'll have you know I am younger than you all.
Moisturise me, moisturise me. Yes, 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 we know. We don't want to be reminded of that phase. Now, if you'll excuse me, I was trying to talk to Sandshoes and Grandad. Oh my god, these are not Sandshoes.
Are you capable of speaking without flapping your hands around?
Yes. No.
Ah, Excelsior! Thou craggy knob, dissolute! Or something along those lines. Don't start talking gibberish on us. Even my constant breathing is more coherent than your translation of old gibberish. I would have thought you would have appreciated it, you microsophic asprosate.
Silence, all of you, or I'll kill you with this deadly jelly baby.
If I had my recorder, I could play music to soothe our souls.
Music? What do you know about music?
No need to fear when the jelly babies are here. Willy Wonka created this jelly baby to make some music. Let's see if we can cheer you up. It could be the Christmas #1.
Oh, it'll be the song to save Gallifrey. Although at this point in my life, that hasn't actually happened yet. That's later in my timeline. But I can go back. I can go back onto the planet. I can go back and walk through those red and orange fields and look up into the wonderful, amazing, dazzling sky. 1,000,000 colours floating through. Purple, green, brilliant yellow. Yes! These shoes. They fit perfectly. Yes.
Shut up. Play the fucking songs.
All right, Malcolm, cool your boots.
Just let me take a moment to catch my breath.
With rings on their fingers and bells on their toes. Enough! I will banish you to the end of time if you continue that tripe.
Hey, that's my story.
You don't even know what this song is. Interestingly, before it was good, it was evil, and that's what you are. No, not even interesting. A spy! An alien spy!
Better not be the long song or you make your grandfather angry.
Shut up, you floppy rag doll.
I will play the song now.
This should be interesting. So there are 12 of them now. No, Clara, all
Hello, my fellow Whovians, and welcome, welcome to this very special Doctor Who review, where today I review the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who, The Day of the Doctor, written by Stephen Moffat, starring Matt Smith as the 11th Doctor in his penultimate adventure, as well as David Tennant as the 10th Doctor, John Hurt as the War Doctor. Yeah, 3 Doctors in this story, wow. So, The Day of the Doctor, we finally made it to this one, folks. It is officially the 50th anniversary of the show with this story, and I cannot wait to talk about it. First of all, before I begin, I just want to give a huge shout out to Alan Caylow, Nick Payne, Jack The Film Fanatic, and Harry Thomas Pictures for the contributions to the sketch. I really do appreciate it, so please subscribe to their channels. Anyway, the plot of The Day of the Doctor is as follows. The Doctors embark on their greatest adventure in this 50th anniversary special. In the 21st century, something terrible is awakening in London's National Gallery. In 1562, a murderous plot is afoot in Elizabethan England, and somewhere in space, an ancient battle reaches its devastating conclusion. All of reality is at stake as the Doctor's own dangerous past comes back to haunt him. So, The Day of the Doctor. How is the 50th anniversary special? It's great. Yeah, I really like it. It's very good. I'm not going to call this story a masterpiece. It's certainly not the best anniversary of the show. It's certainly not perfect. But for what it is, it's very good. I do really love this story because it is basically the main story for the War Doctor, John Hurt. We saw a glimpse of him in The Name of the Doctor at the very end, and also we saw him in the Night of the Doctor teaser. I still think that teaser should have been in the opening of this story. I really do think the 8th Doctor's regeneration would have been so awesome to have as the opening for this story, but whatever. And it's really nice to see the character development behind the War Doctor, the fact that he's being put in such an emotional and difficult position, in order, he's the Doctor who blew up Gallifrey to save the universe and destroyed, all the women and children on Gallifrey. And he's very dark. He's such a dark character, but you can see that he has a lot of regret and sadness about him, and he feels guilty for what he's done. And so much of the story is about him trying to understand why he did that, and then the other Doctors helping him find a way to reverse that so they can not necessarily have to have him live with that mistake. Because we also see the 10th Doctor regretting that, and the 11th Doctor trying to forget about that as well. But John Hurt gives a great performance, and he's great in this story. Such great banter with him and the other 2 Doctors. Just, they make such a trio. They are really good in this story. The other Doctors are great as well. Matt Smith as the 11th Doctor. I mean, this is still his era. This is his penultimate story. And, what a great choice for a penultimate story, I have to say. Sad that he's only got one story left after this, but he gives it everything. He clearly loves the role. He's still got the same energy, and his banter, especially with David Tennant, is really good. And I laughed quite a lot during this story. This story is very funny. I think the script is incredibly witty this time. And David Tennant, yes, David Tennant returns as the 10th Doctor. The only thing I would say is I don't like the hairstyle. I would have preferred him to keep his sticky uppy hair that he used to have, but whatever. The fact that he's in the story is amazing. And again, as I said, the 3 of them have such great banter. Like the scene in the prison cell where they didn't realise that the door was already unlocked. That was great. And all this stuff about Sandshoe's granddad, why are you pointing those? They're scientific instruments, not water pistols. Just brilliant. And when he says, are you capable of speaking without flapping your hands around? Yes. No. All of those great moments. And all of the stuff with Queen Elizabeth is quite funny with David Tennant when he's having a bit of a romance, and then he proposes to her as well. As great as that stuff is, I do have to say parts of the story to me feel a little unnecessary. I didn't understand really why the Zygons were in the story. I mean, it's great to have them in there, but they don't really have much to do with the main story. Not that I could remember. They didn't seem to have much to do with the whole Time War aspect of the story, and the moment and the Doctor trying to save Gallifrey. The Zygons were just kind of there to be somewhat of a scary antagonist. They didn't have much purpose to the plot, but they were okay. I mean, the design was cool, but yeah, they could have had more importance to the plot. And all the stuff with Queen Elizabeth, Some of it does go on a bit too long. I think some of it is a bit filler. It feels like, okay, this is just kind of here for comedic banter. Joanna Page, who plays the Queen, who's obviously also known for Gavin and Stacey, she's really good in the story. She has a very good English accent, and I think that her chemistry with David Tennant is very good. She performs it very well. But again, some of the stuff, it just kind of goes on too long for me personally. Yeah, it's a little weird to explain, but basically Billie Piper it comes back as Rose, although it's just this interface that takes the form of Rose and tries to help the War Doctor deal with his emotional struggle, and the others can't exactly see her or hear her, although he does refer to her later, and then they are like, oh, who is he talking to? I think after that first scene she has with John Hurt's Doctor, I don't think she needed to be in the rest of the story. I don't think that she had much of a place. Like, she's just there talking to him in the background, saying various things. It didn't really matter that much to me. Yeah, I mean, she was okay, she was fine, but what other important role did she have in the story? Not much to me. But what is awesome about the story is the third act. The third act is amazing. When the Doctors together, the three of them, decide to save Gallifrey and put it inside this pocket universe, this other universe, so that basically they decide to sort of put it in this other universe, to which links with the painting somehow, to which the Daleks get caught in their own crossfire and still get destroyed, but Gallifrey is saved and all of the women and children are saved, and it takes not 3 of them, but all 13. Some of the other Doctors couldn't appear, have a more central role in the story, but the fact that we do see like archive footage and glimpses of them when they've all got their various TARDISes and they're all flying in at the end, oh, that was amazing. That was so good. I have to say, it's very cleverly edited, the way they did that, and using some of the audio as well. And they even used a clip of Christopher Eccleston when he was like, right, now for my next trick. So as a fan, that was just brilliant. And they even snuck in a cameo for Peter Capaldi, because as we know, Peter Capaldi would become the Doctor very soon after this story. Well, he would be in the next story, but it's nice to see that they managed to sneak him in to the 50th. That was very appreciated. As for some of the other minor roles, they're pretty good. I mean, we've got Jenna Coleman as Clara. She's good. She does take a bit of a back seat in this story, but, you know, she's fine. She's fine for what she is, and it turns out she's now a teacher. She's teaching at the Coal Hill School, and I have to say, I like the fact that the story opens with a different title sequence. So we get the original title sequence from the 60s, which is amazing. Although the cast text do appear a bit later, over some random footage, which is a little strange, but it still works, and it's nice to sort of have the references subtly to, you know, Ian and Susan and Barbara and the school. That's the only one sort of downside for me of this story, is that I don't think the story pays enough homage to the classic series. We get like images, we get this pinboard of images in the background where you see some of the other companions, but they could have had a few more references to the classic series. I also loved the Time War scenes. The Time War scenes were epic. The destruction of Arcadia, that was amazing. The Daleks coming back was brilliant. I thought that was a great epic opening, and it was a great way to introduce the War Doctor. And when he shoots the gun on the wall, which says "No More," you know, he's trying to stop the war. And in the end, he ends up having to destroy Gallifrey, but he clearly resents what he's done. The Doctor has always been someone, and I think because of this, is somebody who abhors violence. You know, he doesn't like to carry guns, and I think it's because of this. And I think the episode was clever in that regard. And in terms of the way they tie it all up, it's quite clever, I think, because obviously we know that in the first series of the news show with Eccleston, he's like, oh, my planet is gone, it was destroyed in the Time War. So for that very reason, they had to make all the Doctors forget about what they've done. And because they're all crisscrossing in their different timelines, that was entirely possible. It allowed them to forget exactly what had happened. And I think that was a clever way to sort of tie it all up. Also, with David Tennant's Doctor at the end, he still says, I don't want to go. Like when Matt Smith tells him about Trenzalore, he's like, we have to change our destination, because I don't want to go. I thought that was kind of a nice touch, so they still kept his final line. And the final scene, well, one of the final scenes, with Tom Baker. Yes, Tom Baker is in this story as the curator. Well, he's basically the Doctor, let's be honest, but they call him the curator. But basically, you know, let's just assume he is the Doctor. I mean, come on, let's be honest. I just love that scene with him and Matt Smith where they discover that Gallifrey did survive, even though that they are going to forget what happened. They know that Gallifrey is safe, and the message has now been changed to Gallifrey falls no more. So that was absolutely brilliant. We also get Gemma Redgrave back as Kate Stewart. We last saw her in The Power of Three. It's nice to see her back. She gets turned into a Zygon at one point. And I have to say, I like the effects, the visual effects when she changes into a Zygon. I thought that was very impressive. Now, Clara does seem to know how to use the vortex manipulator quite without much training. She manages to use it with ease. Yeah, not quite sure how that works. I mean, she says something about an activation code, but yeah, that was a bit random. Also, we have Ingrid Oliver, who plays Osgood. She's a new character. She wears a Tom Baker scarf, which is nice. She's someone who works for UNIT. Not exactly sure what she does. I can't remember her job. She's asthmatic. She carries an inhaler. And yeah, she plays a small but nice role in the story. And there's a scene with her when she gets turned into a Zygon, which is interesting. Don't know if it adds much to the plot, but it's a nice scene to kind of showcase her character, I suppose. For me, there are a few elements in which there are filler, like the Doctor getting married to Elizabeth. Is that really necessary? Let's just get on with the story. I feel like the story at 75 minutes, maybe it's a little bloated. That's the only thing I'll say. It's a little bloated. That you could lose some of this. Maybe 15 minutes could have been lost, but I understand why it was that long, because it was the 50th anniversary. I just felt that perhaps there are a couple of things that were unnecessary. Murray Gold's music, I have to obviously shout that out. The music is fantastic, and the production design is just amazing. It looks like a Hollywood movie. You know, the budget looks really good, and Gallifrey looks amazing as well. It's a fantastic story. It's a really great story, and it's really entertaining. Is it perfect? No, it could have been better in places, but I think they did try, and I think Moffat wrote a very solid script, and you know, it's clever, it's witty, and also the TARDISes. Seeing the different versions of the TARDIS console room was great. John Hurt's TARDIS console room looks awesome. It's like a blend of the old console room with some of the David Tennant design, and then we get David Tennant's one back as well, which is great, and then obviously the current one with Matt Smith is very nice. So yeah, the Day of the Doctor, this is a great story, and I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. Yeah, it's a great 50th anniversary, and the end credits are lovely when we see all the faces of all the Doctors, well, up to that point. And the last shot with all of them outside the TARDIS, I mean, okay, it's kind of obvious to see that it is sort of photoshopped, but it was the best they could do under the circumstances, so I'm going to forgive it, I'm going to allow it, because I think that, you know, they tried their best, and obviously some of the Doctors, you know, they could have come back, even though they were older, but you know, again, to get all of them on screen at that point, that was the best they could do, so fair enough. So yeah, that's my review of The Day of the Doctor. Please leave your comments down below, let me know what you think of this story and the review, and stay tuned next time when we review Matt Smith's final story as the 11th Doctor, the 2013 Christmas special, The Time of the Doctor. Once again, many thanks to the guys for the sketch, and I will see you all next time. Please hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for my review of The Time of the Doctor. So until then, I'm Mr. TARDIS11. Thank you for watching. See ya. Bye for now.